hydraulic leak on one of Fiji Airways planes results in emergency landing. Only 2 days into the year and political parties are getting their act together for elections in September. An 8-year-old girl evacuated to New Zealand as search for Iliki Suka continues. Very good evening, but first tonight, a 2-year-old girl toddler as the country's first drowning victim this year. The incident occurred at around 4 p.m. at Levai village in Kandavu when the body of the child was discovered floating in the sea by a relative. The victim was at home with his 6-year-old brother and grandfather and was last seen at around midday. A relative who had gone to the seaside discovered his body later in the afternoon. Attempts to revive him proved futile, but investigations continue. A hydraulic leak issued to Fiji Airways flight FJ810 resulted in an emergency landing at the Los Angeles airport. A statement issued by Fiji Airways Managing Director and CEO Stefan Pichler stated that the captain of that flight reported the hydraulic leak to authorities and requested assistance. The aircraft landed safely and Fiji Airways contracted engineers moved it to a nearby hangar facility for remedial work. Unfortunately, passengers on this December 31st flight faced a consequential 24-hour delay due to the unanticipated mechanical issue. Some subsequent flights to be serviced by the same aircraft have also had to be delayed as the spare part had to be shipped to Los Angeles from Europe. All affected customers were accommodated in Los Angeles or had alternative flight arrangements made for them. Fiji Airways says it will not compromise safety and planes will only fly if they meet or exceed international safety and security standards. A 70-year-old man on a flight from Fiji on New Year's Day is in custody in Australia. The US citizen was detained at the Brisbane International Airport accused for trying to smuggle drugs. Authorities found the accused's bag to be unusually heavy, prompting a search. Upon inspection, an X-ray revealed a white powdery substance hidden in the lining, which was later confirmed to be methamphetamine. The accused appeared before the Brisbane Magistrates Court yesterday and was charged. The maximum penalty for such an offence in Australia is life imprisonment. Political parties have begun work towards the elections in September. Our news team caught up with 2 political parties today.
Candidates, votes, campaigns, party manifesto. It's all part of running for an election. Political parties are starting to gear up. The People's Democratic Party will hold its national convention in mid-February to confirm its office bearers.
During the convention, we intend to release our manifesto. Based on that, we will be calling an expression of interest from people who want to contest the election on party platform, on the PDP ticket. And then we'll go through the process of selecting the candidates. We will then proceed with our election campaign machinery. Let me say this, we are ready for the election if it comes tomorrow.
Singh says that he is pleased with the electoral rolls, stating that it makes it easier to identify voters, allowing people to vote wisely.
We are all grown-ups. The population we have now, the voting public we have now is quite different from those that were in previous years, including 2006. I think no amount of speeches, no amount of positive media coverage or whatever is going to make a difference. I think people are more learned. They know the reality. And I think they will use their conscience and I think they will use their knowledge to cast the vote. And I urge everyone to vote.
Meanwhile, the National Federation Party says they are conducting meetings to finalize their party manifesto.
The fact that we are holding meetings, in branch and in pocket meetings is campaign in itself. When we go there, we have to obviously enunciate the party policies, what we stand for, what improvement can we bring to the country, and so it is a campaign, and obviously more organized campaign will take place later on in the year.
Currently, 4 parties have been registered to contest the elections, with a 5th one to be formed by Prime Minister Komodo Vorenge Bainimarama. Pratish Raj, Fiji One News.
The younger victim of the Natavora Waters pub fire has been relocated in an effort to save her life. 8-year-old Victoria and her mother, 40-year-old Naomi Kolinisau, were found in the burning pub fire on December 23rd.
The latest that we have with the Natavora case is the 8-year-old has been airlifted overseas for further medical treatment, thanks to the kind assistance of those who have come to her aid. And as we speak, the search continues for the suspect, 65-year-old Elikisuka.
Up until today, police have not received any information that can help them locate the suspect.
As mentioned yesterday by the Chief Operations Officer, this is something that we take seriously. We have got teams out there combing all likely possible areas that he would frequent.
Police is once again requesting members of the public to assist them with any vital information.
It's a serious offence, and we have to bring the person to answer to whatever allegations that are in place.
The current dengue fever outbreak is at an all-time high, with 319 people having contracted the disease. As of 30th December, 283 cases were reported in the Central Division, majority of which were from the Suva-Nosori corridor. 36 cases were reported in the West, with the North recording 11 cases so far. Health teams have been mobilized with insecticide spraying already conducted in most semi-urban areas. Members of the public have been reminded that spraying does not destroy breeding places. Therefore, the onus is still on individuals to ensure clean surroundings. Just a few days after calls for applications, students flocked to Suvavo House today to take advantage of the Tertiary Education Scholarship and Loan Scheme. Our news team caught up with some of them.
Accessing tertiary education no longer just a dream for these students. Many say the benefit is a blessing.
It's very helpful to us and our family because currently my dad is not working, so it's very helpful and supportive to our family.
Scholarship means to me because both of my parents are retired, so it's just to help them to pay for my tertiary education.
My dad is the only breadwinner in the family, and there are 7 of us in the family, so receiving this might be a great help.
Also, the scheme is a big help to parents.
Being a single mother, I'm grateful that Samuel can get this scholarship. It will basically help out financially. I cannot afford to pay his fees into uni, and thank God for this scholarship.
Barely into the first week of the year, the response has been overwhelming.
We have received over 2,000 so far, just by in person, those who have come to seek advice, not including those who have been calling in and those who have been emailing in. Yeah.
Still, it is not too late for those that have not yet applied.
I would like to encourage all young people out there, those who have completed Form 7 and those who have completed foundation studies, and for those who have been enrolled in full-time studies in 2013, who have been funding their own education, they are all encouraged and welcome to come and apply for this tertiary education loan scheme, because it is a help for everyone.
The scholarship unit will be accepting applications until the 10th of this month. Reviva Fo'o, Fiji One News.
Now, with the new prospective biofuel sugar, progress in this area is an indication of how hard people are working to revive the industry. And as demand gradually increases, the ministry is confident it will achieve results.
Permanent Secretary for Sugar, Colonel Malasa Vaningi, is confident the bumper crop we hope to harvest in June this year will cater for the steady demand coming in for our raw sugar from interested overseas buyers.
We don't have any disaster this year. We're hoping to hit 2 million tons of cane 2014. It's going to be a bumper crop for 2014.
He says the good results of sugar production in previous years is a feature they hope to draw strength from to be able to reach the forecasted targets of sending over 2 million tons of cane to the mills this year.
The achievements that we've made has been well represented in the the high price of sugar for the cane farmers. Now for the cane, for the first time in over 100 years, the cane price now has gone up to $81 a ton.
He says the setup of the refinery mill in Lambasa to cater for the growing local and regional markets will be an added boost to supplement the raw sugar market abroad.
And we've also got 10,000 for the Pacific Island countries. and all other taken in, like Australia and New Zealand. The significance of today's visit from the Chinese delegation has added no further incentive for us.
Madiun Bulletin, Fiji One News.
Still to come, speeding again the number one offence on our roads. And PSC introduces tenancy agreements because of damage to state properties. Hello again. Speeding continues to be the number one offence on our roads. Out of 73,000 various traffic-related offences, more than 45,000 bookings alone were for speeding. Halite start with the details.
Speeding made up a staggering 63% of the total number of bookings last year, with 45,867 drivers booked. 2,610 drivers were also booked for careless driving, while 2,222 were booked for overloading. Authorities say this figure is alarming.
One of the biggest worry for us is the fact that we continue to lose lives on our roads. For us, I know that there is we recorded 41 deaths last year, which isn't an increase from the previous year, but the fact that one life has been lost is a cause for concern.
1,808 people were booked for not wearing seat belts, with 494 for driving without a license. Apart from this, 710 drivers were booked for drunk driving, while 1,372 for illegal operations.
This is something that we keep continuing to reiterate because we can't be everywhere. So that's why we need the support of the people. We're simply issuing these advisories. I know people have been saying it's a broken record, it's the same thing over and over again. But it's because we care about the lives of people. We care about the fact that when a life is lost, you're leaving behind loved ones that are suffering. And that's something that we never want to have anyone to go through.
The focus for 2014 is on changing pedestrian behavior.
Road safety is not only something that drivers are responsible for. It's everybody's. Everybody has a role to play. Pedestrians, if they continue to have that lax attitude that when they're out on the roads, we don't have to worry about road safety. It's something the drivers should be aware of, and they have to think again. They have to change their mindset.
18,695 bookings were also made regarding other traffic offences, such as using mobile phones while driving. Hariteshtat, Fiji One News.
The Land Transport Authority says it will not hesitate revoking the licenses of habitual offenders. The authority at the end of last month suspended 35 drivers from the Western Division alone.
50 drivers with numerous bookings against them were called to show cause in Lautoka last month. Out of that, the LTA suspended 35 licenses, sending habitual offenders a strong message.
What we're telling the drivers, if you cannot show and prove yourself that you are a safe and a trusted driver, then we got a job to remove the license from you. License belongs to government, it belongs to LTA. It's only given up as something people hire. And when they become breaking the laws and we see them as a threat to road safety, it's our job to take that license out.
The suspension period varies from 6 months to a year.
These are habitual offenders, big time violators. They've been booked so many times, 40, 50, 60, and even some reaching 70 and 80 bookings in their driving career. So they're not only habitual, but some of them are being rated as notorious, which is really bad and dangerous.
The authority suspended a total of 70 licenses last year, with warning letters issued.
We are not taking any chances here for even an offender that exceeded the 10 points in terms of number of bookings. They have been given a warning straight away, just to keep them on alert that they are under our microscope, and we're going to deal with them if they continue to violate the laws.
Habitual offenders from the Central Division will be given an opportunity to show cause next week. Haliteshtat, Fiji One News.
Requirements recently announced by the Land Transport Authority for license renewal applications is geared towards updating the authority's database. The LTA had earlier this week publicised that vehicle owners must present their water and electricity bills for any license renewal application, permits or any transaction.
We need to inform them or advise them on changes, when even have to advise, on expiry of their license or their registrations. We need to do that. And apart from the bookings that we need to deliver, infringement notices to these addresses, it's all coming back because of the non-valid of these some of the addresses. That's the whole reason why we are doing this. And like I said, it's all to improve and to better our customer service.
As stated in the advertisement, no application, renewal or registration will be conducted without water and electricity bills.
What we have mentioned here are just the bills, but there are many other avenues of doing it, like the TIN letter, like the registration, the voters registration card. Yes, we are also using that. It's all part of the documents and the items that we are resorting to, okay, to cross-check on the information.
Realizing the importance of safeguarding its resources for future generations, a district in the Western Division has taken a proactive step to police and protect its maritime resources. The Tekino Vunda in the Ba province is working with the Department of Fisheries, weeding out illegal fishing and the exploitation of its already depleting fish stocks.
It had to take a report from the Fisheries Department in Lautoka to sound the alarm bells. The people of Vunda did not have to think twice of the measures that needed to be put in place.
We were very concerned when Fisheries Department carried out their inventory in 2012, and they told us that Ngolingoli is very poor or very much depleted in its marine resources. And from that time, we've been trying to take measures in trying to curb or try to look after Ngolingoli, especially for our future generation.
Apart from erecting notice boards along the highway and at beachfronts to indicate the steps taken to safeguard their resources, wardens have also been elected in the 3 villages that make up the district. These wardens were also deployed to nearby islands that are part of the district.
We found that there are so many illegal fishermen fishing in Ngolingoli, and so we put out that, and we have fish wardens in the 3 villages and also on Bomo Island and on Amara. Then they're supposed to be looking around or looking after the Ngolingoli.
Following a number of surveillance operations by the committee last year, a number of illegal fishermen were arrested and taken to the Fisheries Department and then dealt with by police.
The patrol, we got I think about 5 or 7 illegal fishermen that we grabbed, and they were taken to the Fisheries Department Lautoka and also to the police.
Andi Makelesi clarifies that their operations are targeting those that are fishing commercially. She says for subsistence fishing, wardens will not stop those that are doing it for their daily consumption. Another area of concern for the committee is fishermen purchasing license from another district and then using it to fish in Vunda waters.
No, not subsistence. This is mostly commercial. They need to have license to fish within Ngolingoli. And when I say illegal fishermen, some of them are fishing out there with no license at all, or some are fishing there with license from other neighboring Ngolingolis, but find it convenient to fish in the Vunda waters.
Matthew Mbolitamana, Fiji One News.
Tenants renting government properties will now have to sign a tenancy agreement with the Public Service Commission. The idea is to safeguard and protect government assets.
As part of its ongoing reforms, all government tenants will now enter into a tenancy agreement with the Public Service Commission. The agreement outlines terms and conditions for those who wish to occupy government properties.
This is meant to bring about greater discipline and greater accountability on part of those who occupy those premises. Because after all, those premises belong to somebody. If there is a damage or if there is a liability left behind, it is the people of Fiji who end up footing those bills.
Chan says the government had in the past incurred costs as a result of damage to properties.
There have been instances where we have ended up with liabilities. For that matter, we would have ended up with with arrears in water rates, arrears in garbage rates for that matter, or arrears in other utilities. We would have also ended up with damages to the property.
Government collects close to $350,000 every month from its private and commercial rented properties.
That's a good return. In overall terms is in excess of about 3.5 million, and that is sufficient for us to maintain this stock of quotas we have. That's why you see there is a much better system of maintenance and much better system of care of those properties.
In order to meet the demand, government focused $2 million on rental for properties and $25 million on office rent for government use. Haliteshtat, Fiji One News.
The Ministry for Social Welfare, Women and Poverty Alleviation achieved all of its goals in 2013. With an allocated budget of $39 million, a large chunk was directed towards the Poverty Benefit Scheme.
2013 was a busy year for the Ministry of Social Welfare, Women and Poverty Alleviation. More people graduated from its Social Welfare Assistance Scheme, allowing more assistance for the Poverty Benefit Scheme. More so, the ministry was able to commit 30 communities to its Zero Tolerance Violence-Free Community campaign.
We continued with our campaign to eliminate violence against women and children, so we added another 30 communities into those that are already in the campaign. Our goal is to have 30 communities each year.
45 women resource centers were also constructed to train women.
These centers are providing institutions for women's groups, particularly in rural areas, where they could better organize their programs in a resource center and identifying a product that they can produce for income generation or to develop the skills of their members.
The ministry's assistance for income generating projects was also hailed a success.
We have provided sewing, training in sewing, and also maintenance of sewing machines, and beekeeping has been a popular one as well among women. So depending on what women want to do, we help them achieve their goal.
The ministry now hopes to carry on with the same momentum in 2014. Haliteshtat, Fiji One News.
Despite complaints levelled against the Department of Immigration, 2013 has been a rather successful year. Director of Immigration Nemani Vuniwanga says there's been a marked improvement in their services.
The year has been a fruitful one for the Department of Immigration.
Which was a result of the team effort and the commitment that all members of the department had put in place for the services that we provide.
The department was, however, not spared, receiving their fair share of complaints.
We accept criticisms because it strengthens how we want to portray ourselves, how we ensure that we meet the needs of our customers.
Vuniwanga says the daily challenges have led to a marked improvement in services.
We worked on the determination of refugees, the number of refugees that had, or the number of personnel that had claimed asylum, and we did two refugee status determination.
The two requests were declined. Overall, Vuniwanga says 2013 has been a successful year. Abisolome Rambo, Fiji One News.
The newly formed Fiji Media Authority will this year focus on training journalists to cover the pre- and post-election period. This tops the authority's agenda this year, with training not only restricted to the Central Division.
Stressing the importance of educating the media on the new constitution, decrees and electoral systems to clear the way in disseminating information to all.
The big thing this year is the general elections. We are all awaiting the time that government will announce the election dates. But prior to that, we have a whole lot of workshops to undertake in terms of understanding the electoral systems, the media authority will be working closely with the elections office, the Ministry of Information, key stakeholders, all the media, likewise other agencies.
Akoala says one of the key aims of the authority is educating young journalists who have yet to cover an election or are familiar with covering parliamentary stories, and at the same time aligning themselves to the new laws of the land.
Media authority is mindful that we need to get the media people to understand the systems, the electoral systems, the constitution, the media decrees, and how we need to enhance and empower them to do their work. So a whole lot of workshops. I'm here in the West, visiting our media colleagues, talking to them, discussing issues, and for media authority, as we plan ahead for workshops, it will not only be based in Suva.
He says the scope of coverage in as far as training goes will cover all journalists around the country starting as soon as the coming months.
Unless the media understands, only then they will be better equipped to inform the nation. So for people to be better informed, we need to train the media people first.
Madium Baletamana, Fiji One News.
And on a lighter note, it was a New Year's Eve to remember. Tourists flocked to the popular outrigger on the Lagoon Resort to greet the new year. But it was a bigger surprise for Jo Messina when her longtime sweetheart, Adam Stevens, proposed on the beach. Stevens asked hotel staff to take a picture of him and his girlfriend using his mobile phone, and before they knew it, he got down on one knee and proposed. Resort General Manager Peter Hopgood said the outrigger on the lagoon is delighted to have been able to provide that perfect New Year's Eve for many guests. The latest from the Pacific up next. Stay with us. Political candidates in Vanuatu could soon be required to undergo medical checkups before registering for the upcoming elections. The proposal comes from the Vanuatu Electoral Commission and follows a series of costly by-elections in recent years that have resulted from the deaths of elected MPs. And the Commission's now set to hold another one after the Internal Affairs Minister Patrick Croby died just last week. The Electoral Commission's chairman, John Taleo, says many politicians in the country suffer from high blood pressure, diabetes and other health problems, and his office simply doesn't have the money to fund more by-elections. Now remember, if you missed any of tonight's stories, you can view it on our website at www.fijione.tv. You can also watch previous news bulletins as well as our current affairs, business and sports shows. And Drew is next with sport, and Inoki Maile to stay on as Flying Fijians coach.
Yes, Vili Rugby House has made that clear despite applying for the overseas coaching grant. That's coming up. Also in sport, clubs to adhere to foreign player policy. And record numbers for Suva cricket competition.